All right. Welcome, everyone. For those who are new to OLLI, we are the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at Berkshire Community College. We are a community of people committed to learning and having fun in community. We have over 1,450 members and are the largest lifelong learning program in Massachusetts. We offer 5 semesters of peer-led courses each year, taught by volunteer instructors, and offer scores of events, speakers, and programs to connect the members of our OLLI community with each other and the world. All our programs are volunteer-driven. I am Carol Allman-Morton, the new Executive Director of OLLI at Berkshire Community College, and I'm so glad to be part of this community. I've spent my first 2 weeks meeting with as many committee leaders as I could, and will be spending much of my first months in this role trying to meet as many people as I can. So I'm delighted to be here today with our instructors for the summer 2 semester, which will begin on July. Oh, I just realized that the date is wrong in my little cheat sheet here. Who wants to put it in the chat? What's the first day? Is it 18? Is that what it is?
July 18th.
Okay, great. The one disappeared from my notes. Courses will be in person and online. And I want to thank Steve Tobin and Len Tab so much for your hard work on the courses for this semester, and to all of our curriculum committees for their expertise and care in building the classes that make OLLI OLLI. Thank you to our instructors for your expertise and care in leading these courses. And I'm going to ask Judith if she might pop into the chat the link to learn more and register for summer 2 courses. For our in-person programming, masks will be optional, and please do what feels comfortable for you. Vaccination is required for in-person programming. And before we begin, I just have a couple of sort of plugs to offer to you. We have a number of events coming up in the next month. There's 3 OLLI Distinguished Speaker Series events. The first is Saturday, July 9th at 11 a.m. Professor W. Anthony Shepard on Sondheim's Concepts Company and Sunday in the Park with George at the Berkshire Museum. And we're going to put the link to that in the chat in a moment. And then on Saturday, July 23rd at 11 a.m., also at the Berkshire Museum, Leslie Friedman Rosenthal and Jessica Lustig on Rescuing an Afghan Music School from the Taliban, a Success Story. And finally, for the Distinguished Speaker Series, we're hosting an event Saturday, August 20th at 3 p.m., again in person at the Berkshire Museum, honoring Linda Greenhouse for her contribution to lifelong learning and journalism. All right, and then we have some special events coming up, hot off the press from Arlene Breskin this morning. We have a lunch hosted at the Chester Railway Museum, which will be followed by Watching to the Moon and Back at the Chester Theater. It's a play by Dorothy Parker Bruce on Wednesday, August 17th. And Berkshire Cider Project is where there'll be a tour and tasting with 2 dates, one August 25th, or you can go on September 15th. And those will be, we'll have information about those out to everybody soon in early July. And then finally, in terms of announcements, University Days is coming. The title of the overall program this year is We Are Still Here, Indigenous Peoples of the Northeast. The events will be starting on August 26th and going through much of September. The University Days Committee has put together a spectacular slate of events. It is, I think, 25 plus events over a few weeks, and registration will be available in July. You can come to anything or one thing. I mean, everything or one thing. It's going to be an amazing set of programs. So what you're here for, though, is to learn about what our wonderful instructors have in store for us in the summer 2 semester. So I'm going to invite them to go one at a time and share a brief introduction to their courses to help you get excited about what to sign up for this semester. And our first person who'll be speaking is Ralph Pearson. So I'll hand it over to Ralph.
Thank you very much, Carol. I hope everybody's hearing me okay. Put it in the chat if you're having some challenges. This is my 4th course, and there's a 5th one in the works for the fall. But each time I've been at these open houses, I've had the lingering feeling after I've presented for a couple of minutes that I left something out. Most of you may know how that goes. So today I'm going to read. So here we go. My course is about America's westward expansion, art and artists. And it's being held for 5 Mondays at 2:30, starting the 18th of July. The history of the art of the frontier is the history of America and westward expansionism. European settlers and their descendants pushed the boundaries of tamed eastern lands into the natural, untouched western frontier. Artists were no exception. For them, there were new, breathtaking vistas, landscapes never before seen or recorded, and noble peoples with proud traditions unknown to Euro-Americans. The course proceeds chronologically, starting with the mid-18th century British naturalist artist Mark Catesby, who depicted the birds and wildlife of our southernmost colonies, and leading to artists Frederick Remington, Charlie Russell, and Maynard Dickson with their late 19th and very early 20th century, often nostalgic depictions of the closed frontier. In between, as the frontier moved westward following the successful Lewis and Clark expedition, we look at pre-Civil War artists John James Audubon, Caleb Bingham, George Catlin, Alfred Jacob Miller, and others. After the Homestead Act of 1862, and with the zeal of Manifest Destiny quickly populating the West as native populations were displaced and subjugated, artists such as Albert Bierstadt and Thomas Moran were followed by others, among them photographers, sculptors, and magazine illustrators. We'll be discussing 3 common values and objectives held by most artists we discuss. 1, ecological awareness, including a love of animals. Number 2, preservation of public lands. And number 3, connection and inspiration provided by native peoples. The course makes wide use of video clips. I'll be following a format familiar to those who have taken my previous courses, where my role is that of facilitator who weaves a story relying on the expertise of art historians, museum curators, with lots of beautiful art and occasional music. There you go. I don't think I left out the important stuff this time. So no afterthoughts, and I hope you'll join us. It's 5 Mondays in the afternoon, starting at 2:30 from July 18th. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ralph. We'll turn it over to John Dickson.
Thank you, Carol. And a different kind of art program. This time the artist will be nature itself. What I propose doing is for 4 Tuesdays in the month of July, starting July 19th, is to go on hikes or walks in Pittsfield State Forest. This is the 100th anniversary of Pittsfield State Forest. And I think this is a good opportunity to really recognize the gem that we have so close to us that is really underutilized. And as I've talked to people, one of the things I've noticed people say about the state forest is it's so confusing. There are so many trails. I don't know how to make my way around it. And so what I want to be able to do is do a couple of trails that are pretty straightforward that people can go back and do on their own with their family or their friends or by themselves. When COVID started, I made myself a promise that I was going to go in there every week and try to figure these trails out. And I think I have a number of them down. And the trails I've chosen are really quite spectacular. 3 of them take us to beaver ponds, and one of them is 3 different streams in state forest. And so I look forward to seeing people in the nature. I think somebody just put up on the screen that I have a limit of 20 in the class, and that has been met, but I think there may be some wait listing as well in case people drop out. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. As always, I go hiking all the time anyway, and so it'd be nice to take people with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, John. Next, we have Will Singleton.
Thank you, Carol. Can you hear me?
You sound great.
Okay. So my course is going to be an analysis and interpretation of the Civil War in America. As much of you know, there's been a lot written and said about the Civil War. Based on my study over the years, I'm going to give you an analysis and interpretation for over a 6-week period. If you'll show the topics, please. Week 1, we're going to talk about the abolition movement and how that helped further divide the country and led to the start of the Civil War. We're also going to, in week 2, look at significant events in the decade 1850 to 1860 that really had an impact on further dividing the country and again, leading to the Civil War. Week 3, an area that you usually don't hear about or read about, but I'm going to dwell on the free Black and non-slave holding white populations in the North and the South in the antebellum period. Can we go to week 4? Why did the South secede? Was it just a matter of slavery, or were there other issues that an elite group of Southerners were very much concerned about, which led them to think they had nothing to lose but to try to become separated from the Union? Week 5, why did the North win the war? I'm sure we can have a good discussion about that. And then in week 6, we'll talk about the immediate aftermath of the Civil War. I am hopeful that if things go well, the most important aftermath of the Civil War was the Reconstruction period. And so I am hoping that I will be able to teach a course next summer on the Reconstruction period. So I hope a lot of you sign up for the class, and I look forward to seeing all of you on Tuesday, July 19th from 2:30 to 4. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Will. Next up, we have Elaine Sohn.
Hi there. My name is Elaine Sohn, and I'm so excited to be part of the OLLI team for this second semester for the summer. I am a recreational folk dancer and folk dance teacher, and one of the things I enjoy the most is sharing my love of folk dancing with other people. In Brooklyn, where I live, I've taught classes at senior centers, at synagogues, at colleges, and we have a weekly dance group that's been meeting in Brooklyn for 25 years, where I also teach. I also taught at the Brooklyn College OLLI over the last couple of years, which began in person, then went on Zoom, and we're waiting for their in-person schedule to come back. So OLLI in Brooklyn to OLLI in the Berkshires. And some of you may know that last summer we danced together at the Mount. This summer, as you hopefully already know, we're moving our site to Simon's Rock campus, and we will be dancing in the Kilpatrick Athletic Center. And if you've ever been on that campus, you know the size of that gym is enormous. It is so large, we're thinking of dropping a dividers, giving us a little less space to dance in because the gym is overwhelming. The floor is wood, which is perfect for dancers, and the air circulation is top notch. So you might say, what is folk dancing? Why should I come? And the answer is, first of all, it's fun. Dancing is fun. If you've been indoors for the last couple of years, getting out and dancing with other people is something we need to do. We move around a room in a circle or in a line with other people. We listen to interesting music. We get a lot of exercise. Sometimes we listen to the lyrics of the music of the dances that we're doing, and often we think about what the dance is saying to us. As you know, exercise is important for us. Dancing is even better than just exercise because it engages your mind, your body, and your spirit. And all you need to get started is a pair of comfortable shoes. Of course, we burn calories, and whether you burn a few calories or a lot of calories doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what shape you're in. If you're less active or experienced, you move with smaller steps. If you're in better shape, you move with larger steps. You exaggerate steps. I happen to know a few dancers who are over 100 years old, and they are still folk dancing. But one of the most important reasons, I think, for folk dancing is it's good for your memory and your general brain function, and you can figure out why. You learn patterns in dances that combine in many ways, and after a while, when you pick up new dances, you realize some of the patterns are the same, some are different. For example, you already know how to waltz, you probably know how to polka, but now you'll learn how to do a grapevine or a Yemenite or a Cherkassia. So we're going to learn patterns of dances which will be repeated in many of the dances we do. The dances we do are from such countries as Greece, Israel, Romania, Bulgaria, the Ukraine. We've started learning some new Ukrainian dances, which are gorgeous. Croatia. And of course, we'll also do some line dances, American line dances, and you may know some of them already. No partners are necessary when you come folk dancing, but if you have one, bring him or her. Wear comfortable shoes. Bring water because hydrating is important. I look forward to seeing some of you, many of you, I hope, at the Simon's Rock Athletic Center. So get your Wednesdays off on the right foot. Come folk dancing at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays, starting on July 20th. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elaine. Now we'll hear from Barbara Greenbaum.
Okay. I love the diversity of these programs. They really sound wonderful. Mine is one that I had done many years ago for several years called Conversations with ... It was modeled after the 92nd Street Y that did Conversations with Interesting People. We're going to have 5 sessions on Wednesdays at 2:30, except for one on Thursday, which I will get to. So the first one is with Kit Dobell on July 20th. You can folk dance in the morning and then you will be home. You'll be able to watch it in Zoom. This will be Zoomed, but I and my guests will be in person. So we'll be together sitting and talking and having a conversation. Kit was Rosalind Carter's chief of staff, and then she became Jimmy Carter's chief of protocol. We've heard a lot this week about what the chief of staff should or shouldn't be doing. For the president, First Lady might be a little bit different, but she will have a lot of backseat stories. She was there for the Camp David Accords with Begin and Sadat and President Carter. She has a lot of very interesting things to talk about. Then on July 28th, which is a Thursday, the only Thursday that it will be, we'll be talking to Pat Tachi, the executive director of Jacob's Pillow. She followed in the footsteps of Ella Bath, who had been there for so many years, and a lot of very exciting things are happening. The Ted Shawn Theater will look entirely different than you've ever seen it before. This is also their 90th year, which is very exciting. Then on August 3rd, we're having 2 people because so many people said yes. So we put some together, and that will be Alan Burrows, the executive director of Shakespeare and Company, along with Kate McGuire, the executive director of Berkshire Theater. Believe it or not, there is a lot they have in common from their particular organizations. And I think it will be very interesting to talk to them, especially, after COVID and how things are coming back and what it's like to really be in person again, but we will get a lot of that done too. Then on August 10th, I will be talking to Yehuda Hanani, who is the creator and director of Close Encounters with Music. Many of you have been loyal followers. He is such an interesting person, really a music historian, as well as a superb cellist who has played with every major orchestra here and in Europe and in Asia. He also combines wonderful lectures. So he's a teacher as well as a cellist, and an absolutely delightful person with a lot of interesting stories. Then the last one will be on August 17th with Susan Whistler from the Mount and Olivia Melee, the executive director of the Clark. Susan has been the executive director since 2008. She has done incredible things with that place that is so wonderful and magnificent to be in. And Olivier Millet at the Clark, from when it started at that little white marble building, which I remember visiting as a student, and then expanding to what it is now. I think of both of them as kind of conservators of the legacy of Edith Wharton, as well as the Clarks and their wonderful art collection, and where it's gone from there. I only wish that they could be there to see what has happened to the places that they loved so much. So that's it. It will start at 2:30 on Zoom on Wednesdays, except for the Thursday of July 28th with Pam Tachi. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope to see a lot of you there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. So our friend Ken Stark was not able to be here today. He's leading a course called Music in the Big Band Era, but he kindly gave me something that I can read on his behalf. I'm sorry that I could not be with you today, but I wanted to share with you a little bit about what I will be presenting during our time together. We have all been going through very unusual and difficult times over the past few years. There has been much more reporting of news events, whether it has been on the radio or the proliferation of television network and cable stations. We have been inundated. Personally, there are times when I have been saturated and have reached my limit. So what do I do? And how do I try to relieve myself of the tumult, stress, and anxiety? I read and very often listen to music. As some of you may know, I am very fond of and interested in classical music, but to lift my spirits and hearken to earlier times, I very often put on music of the big band era. I start back in the 20s and appreciate the progression and development of that genre through the 50s. During the 6-week OLLI semester, I would like to start with groups led by Art Hickman, Paul Whiteman, Bix, ooh, shoot, this is gonna show my ignorance of this person's name. Biederbecky? Who knows? Can one of the folks who are on the panel, maybe who knows, tell me? And then leading up to the Dorsey brothers, Glenn Miller, Benny Goodman, and others. We will explore their biographies, their music, their colleagues, and the vocalists that often accompanied those groups. I hope you can join us at Berkshire Community College starting on Thursday, July 21st from 10 to 11:30 a.m. I just saw a question in the chat. The big band class is only in person on the BCC campus. And Ken close with just thank you so much from Ken Stark. And I'm sure if you have questions specifically about the class, if you send them to olli@berkshirecc.edu, we can get them to Ken and find you an answer. Thank you so much. All right, and next up we have Bill Wooters.
Okay, thank you, Carol. And good afternoon, everyone. So I told a friend of mine that I'd be offering an OLLI course on the speed of light. And his response was, a whole course on the speed of light? How is that course going to last more than 1 minute? I mean, after you've told folks that the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second, what more is there to say? Well, in fact, actually, there's a heck of a lot more to say about the speed of light, and we're going to be saying a lot of it in this course. Let me try to tell you one fact about the speed of light that I think is kind of surprising. So suppose you are being chased by a pulse of light. Okay, I don't know why, but some pulse of light is chasing you. It's headed right toward you at 186,000 miles per second. If you just stand there, then it will close the distance between it and you by 186,000 miles every second. So you run away. So as you're running, and you're very fast, so you run away at, you're fast runner, you can run at 99% the speed of light. Okay, so you're going at 99% of the speed of light. The pulse is chasing you at the speed of light. While you're running, you look around and see how fast is that pulse closing in on you. And the surprising answer is that it's still true that every second, the distance between you is shortening by 186,000 miles. So you didn't gain anything in that regard by running away from the speed of light. This is a pretty weird thing about light. It's weirder and weirder the more you think about it. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about some history, like how do people measure the speed of light? It's very hard to measure, it goes so fast. We'll talk about the fact that the speed of light is an absolute speed limit for all material objects. Nothing can go faster. Einstein came up with that idea in 1905. How did he come up with that idea? We'll talk about that. And we'll also ask this question: can information go faster than light, even if it's not carried by a material object? Is there any way for information to go faster than light? Turns out to be an interesting question to talk about. The course is for everybody. It's got no prerequisites. I always prefer to use diagrams and pictures rather than algebra. So please sign up. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Bill. Next, we have Shireen Nash and Gordon Josephson.
Thank you, Carol. And thank you, Ray, and thank you, Judith, for being there to support us. I'm a retired pathologist, as most of you know. And last year, when Steve Tobin was kind enough to ask me to put this course together, I was appreciative, but also apprehensive. I think many of you who put together courses with multiple speakers know that you can talk about all kinds of topics, but you have to have a faculty who can do that. So my great appreciation is for the faculty that I was able to collect for this topic, Hot Topics in Medicine. The first talk will be on July, 22, and it's going to be given to us by Dr. Cheryl McGinnis, who is a professor currently at Bay Path University. She has degrees in nursing from Florida, master's as well as undergrad. She's a board certified adult nurse practitioner and a clinical transplant coordinator. She is going to talk to us about the impact of the COVID pandemic on solid organ transplantation. So she's going to give us data on transplants, considerations, contraindications, post-transplant complications, immunosuppression, and how the pandemic has affected that. The next speaker on July 29 is by Dr. Aurora Benson, who is currently resides in Palm Desert, California. She is a retired family practitioner, and her talk is going to be on long COVID. She's going to discuss common and uncommon symptoms that may appear after COVID-19. Some symptoms are strange, and she will explain them. She will also tell us when should one seek medical attention and what measures can be taken. The third speaker is Dr. Diane Whitehead, who has received her undergrad nursing degree from Florida State and her Master of Science in Community Health Nursing. She is a seasoned speaker and writer, and she's currently serves as an OLLI mentor for the nursing program at Berkshire Community College. She's going to speak to us on understanding gender dysphoria and the transgender community. She will talk about the topic of gender dysphoria and the many domains of gender affirmation that transgender people adopt, including social, medical, and surgical and current support services for people dealing with gender dysphoria. The next week, which will be, I believe, August August 5. It's going to be given by Ben Lipson, who does not need any introduction to this group of people. And he is a retired psychiatrist from Bay State Medical Center and Franklin Medical Center and geriatrician. And his talk is going to be very interesting. It's on the new Alzheimer's drug, Aduhelm, and he's going to talk about drug approval controversies. My fifth speaker is Gordon Josephson. Again, he does not need an introduction, and Gordon will tell us what he's going to be talking about, but I will finish by saying that I'm the sixth speaker, and I'm going to be speaking on August 26th on advances in technology development for vaccines. And I will start by talking about smallpox, going all the way through to the coronavirus vaccines. And there are various techniques I will be talking about, and hopefully it will be interesting for all of you. So Gordon, go ahead, take it away.
Oh, Gordon, you're muted still. That's okay. There you go.
Thank you so much, Shireen. We're all in your debt for having put together this ensemble presentation, and I'm delighted to be part of it. So my topic is specifically our changing healthcare environment, and I purposely kept this topic vague because I wanted to wait until a month or two before the Summer 2 program to sort of select some areas which I thought had some contemporary ring to them and they could be particularly interesting and compelling to our OLLI audience. And so I tried very hard to not include COVID, but I am unsuccessful because just like the virus continues to mutate and change around us, so does the information and approach to this, anywhere from looking at just so how successful have we been with our vaccination programs, how successful have we been in wearing masks. It seems like a thing we do, but do we really know whether this works or not? So we'll take another deep dive, I'm sorry to say, into our friend COVID-19. The other major topic that we're going to discuss is one that was kicked off in my own mind when I was in college a long time ago, or finishing college, which was the President Nixon program on the war on cancer. And our friend Barack Obama and Joseph Biden have decided to pick up the mantle, give it a special name called the Cancer Moonshot. So these were at the time 50 years ago with President Nixon, and now another effort to try to conquer what has been one of the scourges of mankind for millennia. And we're going to take a close look at just what kind of progress have we made, what are the reasons for that progress, and hopefully we'll all come away a little bit wiser. And then at the very end, I've got a little surprise, which I'll keep to myself for you. It'll be short, but I think in my mind, extremely interesting, and remind us of how far we've come in healthcare in our lifetimes. So thank you again, Shireen.
Thank you so much, Shireen and Gordon. It sounds great. So next up would be Hank Gold, but unfortunately he can't join us today. So Steve has kindly offered to let us know about Hank's class, and then he'll keep right on going and talk about his own. And so thank you so much, Steve.
All right, thank you. The first thing is that the Science Conversations class is an opportunity for everybody to be able to discuss issues of science that are current. What we do is every week, the New York Times on Tuesday has a section called Science Conversations, which becomes the basis of the course for conversations. There are other items that will be discussed that Hank will bring up. Hank is a retired physician. He's done this for a number of years, and it's a very popular class. And that class is on let's see, that class is on, let's see, Thursday at 2:30. The last thing we'll talk about is my class, which is today's headlines, which is Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning, starting July the 18th. That class talks about current events and things that are in the headlines. Needless to say, it's a very active class. It's an opportunity for everyone to voice their own opinion. It's a very popular class. We've been running this class concurrently for many years now. Between Lenny Tabbs, Jeff Mann, and myself, we've been doing this. So it's a very popular class. If I may, Carol, let me just say two other things. One, I want to specifically thank Sharon for all her work on putting together. She was a big help on this. And Mal Wasserman also helped in putting a lot of these things together. I also want to thank all of you instructors for coming today. And for all of you that haven't signed up yet, please go ahead and sign up. And Carol, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. Steve, I just want to echo your thanks to all of our instructors. And again, to you for your work on putting this semester together, along with all the folks who helped out. I am going to try and do two things at once, which I'm not going to be successful at. So I'm just going to take 1 second to copy this. So if folks are having any trouble with their registration, we're putting our email address and phone number for the OLLI office in the chat. You can call us on the phone and we'll give you a hand. I want to thank Judith and Ray for their great work in making all this happen. I could just sort of walk in and say things and be the person talking to you today. I'm going to see everybody on your first day of class. I'm going to come by and say hello either at the beginning or the end, depending on travel. And I'm really looking forward to it. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. Enjoy this sunshine. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you
Carol,
so much. Yeah.
if anybody has any questions they can put them in the chat with everybody there. Anybody have any questions for our instructors now? They can put it in the chat while everybody's together.
I think we're good. All right,
Okay.
let us know.
All right.
All right, take care, everybody.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah, indeed.